If you don't already have Explain Everything, if you go to the App Store, so in the third column to the left there we have App Store, I can tap on the App Store, tap on the search in the upper right hand corner, and we're going to go ahead and type in Explain Everything. We see the only result in there. We could tap on all results, but we see that there's a result for Explain Everything, so I'm going to go ahead and tap. And we see that on the left-hand side, we have Explain Everything, and I actually have an update for it. So I'm actually going to go ahead and tap on Update, and it will actually go through and update the app. So I'm going to let that quick update apply, just to make sure that I'm showing you the most recent version of Explain Everything. Now that the app is installed, I can tap on the Open, or I can hit the main home button on the iPad itself to go out of the App Store. I'm going to swipe, and I see that Explain Everything is on the screen, so I'm going to tap once on Explain Everything, and we're launching the Explain Everything app. To get started with Explain Everything, there's a new project in the upper left-hand corner, and there's a help in the upper right-hand corner. We also have a preferences. If we tap on preferences, we see that we have an interesting long list of preferences here, so we can actually turn on things like Dropbox, Evernote, Box. Right now the only thing that is on is YouTube, but we do have a WebDAV option in there as well. So if you have a server that can do WebDAV, you can export your Explain Everything projects out that way as well. Dropbox is used quite a bit, and so is Evernote, so you can turn those on if you wish, but I'm just going to go ahead and leave YouTube on. And let's tap on the new project in the upper left-hand corner. Going down to, in our case, we're going to do a blank project. We're now in Explain Everything, into the main area of Explain Everything. The controls for Explain Everything are down the left-hand side and across the bottom. So starting in the upper left, we have a plus symbol, a green plus symbol. What that does is this is slide based, so this is a lot like PowerPoint. So right now we're on slide 1 of 1. We could add more slides. So if I tap on the plus at the top, you'll notice in the bottom left-hand corner it now says slide 2 of 2. If I tap on the arrow in the bottom left, I can now go to slide 1 of 2, tapping on the other arrow, going back to slide 2 of 2. So I'm going to go to 1 of 2, just so we're at the beginning, and continuing going down the left-hand side. The next option is the slide sorter. So we can press and hold the slides thumbnails to delete, reorder, or duplicate slides. So I'm going to tap OK. At this point, if I wanted the different order on those, I would tap and hold and drag the slides into a certain order. To get out of the slide sorter, I can tap somewhere in the center of the screen, or with it open, I can also re-tap on the left-hand side to deselect that option. The next option down is the pen tool. If I tap once, it selects the pen tool. If I tap and hold, it brings up the options for the pen tool. Really, what's one of the more important things is the pen thickness. Right now, if I was to tap, I could change. I don't know if you can see that. It's a light gray is the option. So I want to go to the very smallest pen option. I'm going to choose a blue text color by tapping on it. And then I'm going to tap somewhere on the screen. And now I could start writing on the screen. They've actually changed the pen now, so it's actually a lot better looking pen. I really like what the update they've done to this. And I can continue to write on the screen. If I deselect the pen right now, so tapping on the pen over on the left, deselecting it, I can pinch on the screen and move that drawing that I did around. So if I touch and pinch, I can make it smaller and move it around. I can also make it larger on the screen, One professor talks about having infinite white space because she can pinch it smaller, put it in the corner, reselect the pen, draw some more, deselect the pen, pinch and move that item, and then continuing to draw on the screen. Math professor finds this very useful because what they can do is each one of those is a separate element. So I could go back to the original. If somebody said, well, what did you write in the one in the upper left-hand corner? I didn't quite get that. You can tap once, holding and pulling it down, and then pinching that larger to bring it and make it bigger. Again, I can make it smaller and move it up into the upper left-hand corner. Okay, so continuing down the left-hand side, we have the next one down is the laser pointer. So laser pointer is nice because if I need to bring attention to a certain part of the screen, I can go to the laser pointer and then I can just tap, and wherever my finger is on the screen, that's where my laser pointer goes. The next option down is just some simple symbols. So by default, it's an arrow. So I can tap and move. If I tap and hold on that, I can see that I do have some options. So I can have a circle, square, a line, any of those things. Next option down is an A for text. So if I tap once, I get a text box. Just do a hello. When I'm done typing, I can just click on, or tap on, I should say, the little green circle that will get rid of that text box around it. I can tap again on the A on the left-hand side to deselect the text. So now I can tap, hold to move the text around. The next option down is the photos area. So I can actually insert a photo from the photo roll from the camera. So if I'm just in the classroom and I want to capture something on the fly, I can do that. From Dropbox, Evernote, I can even insert a web browser and insert documents from other areas. The next option down is the little, there we go, little X. What that does is allows us to delete items. So by choosing that, I can say, I didn't want that arrow on the screen, so I'm going to tap once on the arrow, kind of moves a little bit. We see that we have the red circle with the white X in the middle. We can go ahead and tap on that to get rid of it. It deselects the X on the left-hand side, so if we want to go in and delete another item, we'd have to tap on it again, and then again, deleting the next item. So going down the page again, we have if we tap and hold on that one, we can actually reorganize things on the screen. So if let's actually bring a couple of these forward here so we can see. We can reorder in what order these are in. So I can actually go in there and tap on something and say bring it to front, send it to back. So if we have a layered situation of content, we can play around with that. I'm going to go ahead and just move some of these around again. We have the next one down is undo. So again, it'll continue to undo. We have the next one down is a pinch and reverse pinch to zoom in and out. Double tap to return to the full screen to view. Down at the bottom, it looks like a little presentation screen. What that does, if we tap on it, is get rid of all the controls. So if I'm in the classroom, I can just have the basic controls. They're very muted out in terms of color, so they're not really taking up a lot of space. I can tap again to get all my controls back. So going across the bottom, again, we have the slide order in the lower left. And I'm going to get to the middle part, what looks like a record button here in a second, and I'm going to go to the right-hand side. We have a home button on the bottom right side. The next one over is our save project area. The next one over is our export, and I'll get into that more in a second. And the last one is export image. So if I'm just exporting an image, I can export it out. Why I love Explain Everything is the record option. So we see that we have a red circle. So what we can do is actually tap once on the red circle. I'm actually going to go to slide 1 of 2, and I'm going to tap on the red circle. We are now recording. This is also recording my voice, so I can start writing on the screen. So if I was going to run somebody through a particular formula, I could be like 1 plus 1 equals 2. I'm going to go ahead and choose the yellow pause button. I'm going to go ahead and now click on the play option to the right of the red circle, so that way you can watch on the screen. You're not able to hear the audio because I do have headphones on right now, but in a second here it will start in, because at about 10 seconds in I started talking and actually writing. So that was a little bit of the video that did have audio. I'm going to pause it, or I'm going to actually end it there. And what we can do at this point, so maybe we didn't like what we actually did during that 21 seconds. What we can do is just hit the left arrow to the left of the red circle. It takes the play back to 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, tapping on record again, and now we can re-record over the top of whatever that was, and then have that video. So now we've created a 7-second video. When the video is done, we can go to the export in the lower right and export this directly to YouTube and embed it into a course. We can also export it out to the photo roll and have it on our computer locally. So that's one of the very powerful things about Explain Everything, is I can have this whiteboard that I can be recording my voice and everything that I'm doing, and then exporting it directly to YouTube and using it in my course. So now the next little feature I want to show you is one that a lot of people like, and that's the ability to be able to take a PowerPoint presentation and bring that into Explain Everything. So you don't have to build your presentation and Explain Everything. You can build it in PowerPoint, which some people are very familiar with, import it into Explain Everything, and then do your voice annotation over the top. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on the home button on the iPad. I'm going to go down to the mail, and one of the things I want to show you is I went ahead and emailed myself a document. And on your iPad Mail itself, it doesn't automatically download all of your files. So even if you get an email in, you might notice that right now it says PowerPoint.pptx 8.1 megabyte. Because it's a little bit larger, it won't actually download immediately to computer. If you tap one time on that attachment, you'll see that it'll actually start downloading the files. So we have the file downloading. When the file's done, we get a solid line around that attachment. We can now tap and hold, and it gives us options of what we want to open this in. And we want to open it in Explain Everything, so the center option. We're now taken over to Explain Everything, and Explain Everything is going to now convert that PowerPoint presentation into an Explain Everything document. So once this is done, we'll continue on. So the PowerPoint that we imported is now part of an Explain Everything document. So we know that we can see that the first slide is there. That was a part of my PowerPoint. It's just a generic PowerPoint. We see in the lower left-hand corner we have slide 1 of 14, and we can navigate through the slides. We can also click the little screen in the lower left-hand corner to get rid of all the tools, so that way we can just navigate through the PowerPoint. I'm going to bring up the tools again, because if we go back to slide 1, at this point we could click record, and I'm going to go ahead and click record and show you something, and that is we can click record and start talking. So we might say, 5 or 6 seconds on this first slide, and then we're going to navigate by clicking the right arrow to the next slide. So we're on 2 of 2. Notice that the recording started over. The recordings are per slide recordings. So whatever I did on the previous slide, I don't have to redo. if I want to redo something on a particular slide, I just need to redo that recording on that particular slide. So if I kind of get lost or jumbled in what I'm doing, or if I need to stop in my presentation, I can always stop on a particular slide and then begin again at that slide. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the yellow pause to stop it. Again, we see that this one was 35 seconds. Going back to slide 1, we see that there's a 10-second recording on there. So now what happens in the lower right-hand corner when we click on the export and go up to YouTube, what will happen is it will take the entire presentation, all 14 slides, the recordings on all 14 slides, compressing it into a, I shouldn't say compressing it, but it'll edit it into a single video that will then be uploaded to YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on the YouTube options, and here we see that we have the movie name, movie description, we have category. It's very important to put your category as education. This helps with, especially at the University of Portland, we filter our content, especially YouTube content, so if you tag it as education, it's actually going to get higher priority on our filtering system. I typically put my videos as unlisted, so the middle option, and that's just so that way I upload them to my YouTube channel, but they actually don't get listed on my YouTube channel. I actually have to send somebody the URL. If I want it to be public, I can go ahead and put it as public. If I want, I can save a copy of the movie in the photo roll, and I can also do the Twitter and Facebook. When I tap on the publish in the upper right, at that point it typically will ask you for your YouTube credentials and kind of walk you through the uploading it. I went ahead and hit cancel because I don't actually want to upload this. So that's kind of the basics of Explain Everything. It's a pretty powerful tool. Keeping in mind that the entire time that I'm talking, I can also be using a laser pointer. I could be writing on top of the PowerPoint presentation as I'm recording. I could be adding text or anything else. So it's definitely a very powerful tool because I can take and create a presentation on my iPad, upload it to YouTube, embed that into my Moodle course or into my website, and it's pretty much a very easy process to walk through in order to create content.